to the legends of the creative and entertainment industries. We talk to those on the rise. Lance Dean Anthony Nielsen asks about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. This is Outcast Creative, and this is Industry Interviews.
Hello and welcome to Industry Interview 114. When I started these, would be about 2 years and some months ago. I never thought I'd get up to 114 industry interviews. Maybe we can hit 150 before the end of the year. Now, before I bring my special guest co-host in and then my guest, a little bit of sad news today. As you know, if you've been following the channel for a while, this started off as a channel to support actors during the lockdown, and we did a lot of live performances and things of that nature. And various members of the Outcast Creative, which are basically creative people from all over the world that are connected to this channel, came on and did. We performed scripts and we produced stuff especially for the channel. You can see it all. It's way back in the catalogue. This is before we did any of the industry interviews. So I work in the film industry, have done for many moons, but way back in the day, before I even got my start, one of the first actors I met was actually the boyfriend of the box office manager at the cinema that I worked at, and that was Mace Richards. And Mace actually was put forward for a part of something that I was casting a couple of years ago, and that was how he came back on my radar. We hadn't seen each other for many years. Sadly, he passed away yesterday. I don't have any details. It is public knowledge already, so we're not announcing it on this channel. But as we have done in the past, because this channel is very much about the creative arts and supporting artists, we have always done a little nod to anybody in the community that we have lost. And Mace was a friend of mine, so it feels very strange to know that when we got back in touch, I actually had a 2-hour phone call with him where we had a catch up to sort of talk about, things that had happened, and love's won and love's lost. And we were both talking about marriage breakups and all of this kind of stuff. And he'd reached a point of his life where he was really in a state of reflection. So I feel quite, I don't know if the right word is gifted that I got to have those 2 hours with him. We were going to meet up for a dinner, which sadly never happened. But anyway, so rest in peace, buddy, and save me a spot at the bar up there, and I'll catch you on the other side sometime from now. But we will meet again. So on that note, let us turn to more joyous occasions and life. Celebrating artists, supporting independent artists and creatives. This is the primary purpose of this channel. So if you are an independent creative artist, you might be an actor, you might be a board games designer, you might be a musician, you might be a DJ, you might be somebody like me who writes a lot of books, you could be an acting coach like me, you might be a film director, you could be a playwright. If you've got an independent project going on, I've got a couple of filmmakers coming in next week to talk about their stuff, for example. And I've got a writer of a novel coming on the channel tomorrow. Get in touch with me, care of the Outcast Creative Facebook page, or you can find me on Twitter/X. I don't like calling it that. Sounds like a porn channel. But I'm on Twitter under Lance Nielsen WD. My guest co-host today is going to bring some glamour to the proceedings, so you don't have to keep looking at my face. You can look at Yasmin D's as well. That's much better for you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. Do you want to explain to our viewers how you and I met?
So we met through the wonderful world of raving, specifically more my expertise in raving, I would say, is trance. So I do a lot of trance and hard house events that you and I have met at and danced at and had an amazing time together at. So yeah.
We have. Do you remember the first one we met at? What was the first event we met at? I can't remember.
I think the first time I probably saw you at an event was probably a Peach.
I think it was.
They were probably one of the first events that I saw you at, obviously, because you see this a lot of the same faces at a lot of the pre-meets and a lot of the raves. And obviously just over time you realize you've got mutual friends and you just kind of get talking. Next thing you know, you're saying hello and just chatting as if you've been best friends forever.
Yeah.
That's why I love our community.
Well, there are some really lovely people who are very friendly and supportive on our community. And Yaz, you are one of them. So welcome to the co-hosting duties for the first time. I understand you're already coming back to do my Doctor Who Monsters stream. So look forward to having you on that. We've got another fellow creative in the chat, Rachel Percy Art. Rachel Percy recently helped me with a little commission because you, of course, will know Adele and Daya. And Adele is doing the forward for my book about the rave scene, and I wanted to get her a special present. So I had a painting for Adele commissioned. Would you like to see that?
Of course.
All right, then. Here you go. So,
oh, wow.
So Rachel Percy Art, for the benefit of those people watching, she is available for commissions. She did this especially for me. For Adele. This is not AI art. This was hand drawn with pencil first.
Wow.
And then it was colored. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, and I do actually have the original pencil drawing as well. And Adele has got both of those. And good news, Rachel, I'm putting the pencil one in my book as well. So to go along with Adele's forward. So good stuff. Anyway, so there you go. We'll take that down. Gary is saying, haven't I got a book out? Yeah, I've got 15 books out. The last one is Silver Screen Journeys, which is this one, which is my life at the cinema through 128 films that I went to see from 1974 until 2024. So that's out, and there's a whole load of others. But yeah, so we've got Martin White in the chat. We've got Sweet Lily Love in the chat. And there's someone called UK Dave. He sounds familiar. We should get him on sometime. Jess Kitchen is in the chat as well. And Raver Babe. I don't know who you are, but that name sounds good. So recently I got back from Unity in the Sun, which, Yaz, you won't believe this. It was my first ever rave holiday. First time
I did my first one, well, my first proper one last year too. Life-changing.
Was that Ibiza?
No, Malta.
Oh, was that wrong?
No, I did Euphoria, which is a smaller scale to Wrong, so it's a lot more intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I've done Ibiza a few times, but I wouldn't class Ibiza as like a holiday festival like what you and I have just done.
No, indeed. I mean, it's just a clubbing island, isn't it? Full stop, really. Fantastic. Well, while I was at Unity at the Sun, I met a whole load of DJs. And of course, you know, anybody creative is always welcome on my channel. And one person said to me, his nickname was DJ Cheese. And I just thought, well, I have to find out why that is your nickname. So obviously that guaranteed him first place on the channel to be interrogated. So without any further ado, let's bring in tonight's guest with a huge drum roll. He's an incredibly lovely man, exceptionally talented on the decks. It is DJ Dave Conway, or UK Dave, to use his official name, aka the Cheese. Any of those, any of the above will do. Welcome to the Outcast Creative, mate.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Fantastic. I think you've brought a few of your comrades with you. We've got Romelia Realist is in the chat saying hi. Flavor C is here. Sweet Lily Dove is here. We've got Talkers 121S. Look, it's UK Dave. Yeah. Jess Kitchen is here. Fantastic. Maybe she's come from a cooking channel. I'm not sure. So, Dave, before we get into your background of DJing, and for those benefit of people watching, Yasmin is dating a DJ. So I've got her on for that unique perspective of, you know, how do DJ relationships survive? We're going to get into that. But before we do all of that, I'm going to ask you guys some quick fire questions. You can both answer these. Dave, you're the main guest, so you get to go first. Can you tell me the name of the first movie you ever saw on the big screen as a kid?
So I think that was Back to the Future Part 3, or maybe Back to the Future Part 2. I can't remember which one now. But yeah, I think it was my birthday, perhaps like my 8th or 9th birthday or something like that. And that was my special treat. We went to the Odeon in Gravesend. It was very exciting.
Is that where you grew up? Gravesend, was it?
Well, no, Dartford, but yeah, same thing.
If you're in Dartford, going to Gravesend, trust me, that's a treat. Okay. So, Yasmin, what was the first film you saw on the big screen? Do you remember?
I think it was Jumanji.
Jumanji, Robin Williams?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, fantastic. And next question for both of you. What was the last time you went to see something at the cinema and paid for a ticket?
Well, I think this probably says everything you need to know about me. I think it was Barbie.
Okay, Barbie, fantastic.
Great film after a couple of pints, I think.
Did you do Barbie and Oppenheimer together, or did you just do Barbie?
Oh, I haven't watched Oppenheimer yet. That's on my to-do list.
Okay, what about you, Yaz?
The Accountant 2 with Ben Affleck.
I've seen that. That's not a bad movie, actually.
Yeah, obviously the first one's better, but
yeah, it's forgettable. It's fun, but forgettable, I would say. Yeah, fair enough. We've got Leanne Murphy is in the chat. She says, for fuck's sake, Barbie, are you serious? But Amelia Aurelius has seen it 3 times. Got a special badge and probably a huge doll collection at home. Fantastic. Do you have, since The Sopranos came out, and you can't pick The Sopranos, do you have a favorite television drama series that you saw then that you went, wow, that was the absolute bollocks? I had to watch every episode and I had to watch the whole thing again. Has there been a show like that for you? That's for both of you as well.
Drama. I mean, I don't really watch many dramas. I mean, I have just finished watching Ted Lasso. Does that count? That was good. I liked that.
That's a drama comedy, but that can count. You've binged the whole thing?
Yeah. I mean, I needed to do it quickly because my free Apple TV month was running out, but it was good fun. It kept my interest going.
What about you, Yaz?
I'm gonna have to say The Handmaid's Tale.
Good choice.
Yeah. Obviously the last season has just come out, but I haven't watched it yet, so no spoilers if you've seen it.
Do you guys both have an account on Amazon?
Yeah,
so therefore I'm going to recommend you my choice for that, which would be The Shield. The entire series is on Amazon. I've got all of the box sets of all of the seasons right there. This is the best cop show ever made. I'll put this up against The Wire any day of the week. I guarantee you, if you watch the pilot and the next episode, you'll go all the way to the end of season 1. If you go all the way to the end of season 1, you're going to do all of season 2, and then after that, you're in. So this is so good, and the actors in it are so strong, and a lot of the actors that appeared in this, which was their first big job, are like A-list actors now. So it's some amazing talent in this. I've had 3 of the actors on my channel, so definitely check out The Shield. That'd be my one. Let's move on to some music related questions. Can you remember the first I don't know if you guys, let's talk vinyl, right? What was the first vinyl album that you can remember having in your possession, purchasing maybe from Our Price or something like that? Beggar's Banquet in my case, in Kingston upon Thames.
I think the first album I got was I think it was The White Room by the KLF.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the one. That
Good
was
choice.
Yeah. So that one.
What about you, Yaz?
Never actually bought a vinyl.
Oh, you're too young. You're a wee whippersnapper. You're too young. That's all right. What about?
However, I do remember my mum and dad. My mum and dad used to have a lot of vinyl, but my dad was massively into like electro punk, so like Soft Cell, that kind of era. And Mum was a massive The Jam and David Essex fan.
Right.
So I remember seeing a lot of vinyl and destroying their vinyl as a child because they used to keep it in my wardrobe, and I pulled it all out one day.
Oh
So,
dear.
yeah.
That was a very poor decision of your parents to
yeah.
That's the White Room, the KLF, isn't it?
Yes.
I remember that cover.
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember being a bit disappointed because I was expecting it all to be full of bangers, but it wasn't really. But I was a bit younger then.
Yeah. I mean, it had a couple of really good.
Yeah.
What
I mean, I
time
think
is
now,
what time is love? You know,
well,
you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
1991.
Exactly.
What was the first track for both of you that you would have been your track that always made you go running on the dance floor? Like, I'm there immediately.
Well, I mean, what back like at the beginning, or
yeah, when you were first going clubbing, what was a
first
track that proper hooked you? That if that track came on, you had to dance no matter what.
Well, when I started going out, then you're probably looking at Euro dancey phase. So that would probably be like, Cotton Eye Joe, Macarena, take your pick.
Okay, interesting. What about you, Yaz?
Members of Mayday, 10 in 1.
Oh, that is a good track.
Yeah.
So
that song, the reason why, if you don't mind me telling you the story, my very first rave at Peach in Camden Palace, I was at the very top balcony and I was looking down and that song came on and I was like, I've found home. And I ran down to the dance floor. So yeah, that is my get me on the dance floor track.
That would be this one, right? That one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I won't play too much of it because we'll get flagged for copyright and suddenly the stream will be disappearing. But yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna know it as soon as I hear it. I'm gonna add that.
You will.
Gonna add that to my songs that I love playlist. There we go. Done. Okay, fantastic. So let's go back to the beginning for you, Dave, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did your journey into Clubland begin? When did it begin? Did you get into it early or late? Tell us how it all started for you.
Well, I think it was quite meandering. But
I love that word, meandering.
Meandering.
Yeah. Tell us where you meandered in this route for becoming a DJ.
Well, I think it probably all goes back to sort of the 90s when I started getting into dance music, and I was a bit too young to go out clubbing at that point. Although in hindsight, I probably could have started a lot younger than I did. But I think really in the 90s, I was kind of quite hooked on all the chart stuff that was coming out. So the early 90s, you were looking at, I was getting into things like the KLF, all the old school charty stuff. So Alternate, Prodigy, Skip to Trumpton. I mean, I know some people write that off as kiddie rave, but I was a kiddie then, so it was great. And then that kind of meandered into sort of more like Euro dancey stuff that I got really into. Sort of by the time you got to the mid 90s, I was listening to a lot of sort of Germany, happy hardcore stuff, particularly things like Scooter, Bloomtien, which was a really big hit in Europe, maybe less so here.
What was the first actual club that you went to? I mean, you may well not have actually been old enough to get into a club when you went, but if you blagged it, do you remember where? What was the first one?
Well, I was actually old enough because although I was only 16, I was in the Netherlands at the time, and that was fine. But I was on a school exchange. I think I was in the sixth form by then, in Rotterdam, and I got partnered with a great enthusiast of the Gabba kind of music that was coming out then. He always went round in this glorious, like bright pink tracksuit. Jasper was his name. He was a lovely chap. Anyway, he thought it would be great, kind of see cultural delights of the Netherlands and stuff like that. He thought it'd be great to take me to an underground warehouse rave, sort of somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Rotterdam, which was just full of all the kind of skinhead gabbers and stuff like that.
Jesus, I never had a school exchange like this. Why weren't my school exchanges like this? I went
to
Bournemouth. Bournemouth was mine.
It was quite an eye opener, but I mean, everyone there.
Imagine.
So yeah.
So that underground rave, that was your first like experience of that kind of thing in Rotterdam.
Yes, that would be it. Yes,
that must have been. I mean, when was that? Early 90s was that?
No, that was like mid 90s by now. I think I just turned 16.
Okay, giving your age away here, but yeah, all right. People can guess it in the chat. We'll give you a cookie if you win. Okay, so you went to that and saw what happened after that.
Well, I had a lovely time. Everyone there, I said, was very friendly, and and then I kind of got more into sort of well, I kind of got all into that sort of thing. I started going out kind of clubbing, maybe more locally. I remember Zen's in Dartford was always great fun, but that was more kind of on the commercial side.
Right.
And then I sort of went to university. I did go to Cream once, actually, thinking about it.
In Manchester.
No, that was was that Cream in Liverpool? Was it?
Liverpool. Sorry, it was Liverpool.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes.
It was Liverpool.
Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. I think that was more on the trancey side as well. So that would have been like very late 90s, something like that.
Yeah.
And then kind of the Birmingham nightlife, student nightlife, was all good fun. Probably less on the kind of happy hardcore stuff that I do now. But great stuff nevertheless.
Yaz, what was the first club you ever went to? As a technical adult, being the key word.
I used to do. We just used to do a lot of local nights. So we used to have a music venue in Bedford called the Angel, and we just used to go there a lot. And there was an underground radio station that was run in Bedford called Risk FM, and they used to throw a lot of nights, and it was a lot of drum and bass, happy hardcore. So that was probably my first proper experience. But then I did the whole clubs, I think, because of my age. I did like the R&B and garage scene before I got into dance, happy hardcore, trance. So yeah, mine was my journey into raving and rave music is because of my age.
I think everybody's is one of the things I've learned from interviewing people both on this channel and for the book is everybody's rave experience is completely unique. You'd think that there's like a typical version of it, but there isn't. Everybody's is very, very different. Here's a shot of your nightclub, Dave, from the Zen Club in Dartford. And it became Attic at some point. I think it's gone through various incarnations at different times.
Yes. So it was Zen and the library. That was the over 25s bit. That was like, get in there. That was very exciting. And then then it changed to Air and Breathe for a very long time. And then it became Attic. And then Attic went bust recently and then that venue closed down. But I think it's going to get reopened in a couple of weeks.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And they're going to do day parties for like over 30s and things. So.
Oh, mate. Well, there you go. We need to look into that.
I know.
We've already given them a bit of free publicity today. So talk us through the segue of you first ingratiating yourself onto the club scene to you transitioning to doing a DJ spot. When did you first get into spinning the decks? And it must have been a weird time because there must have still been quite a bit of people doing vinyl DJing at that time, but also the electronic stuff was just coming in,
Yeah, well, yeah. So I think in terms of me actually DJing as such, again, I continued meandering a little bit in my little journey. I got quite into, as I said, the Euro dance scene, and I think in the sort of in the noughties, I was quite big with a lot of Scooter fans, the band Scooter.
Mm-hmm.
You may have heard of before.
have.
So I was their official moderator on their internet forum. So before Facebook, just before Facebook, a lot of the bands, they had their own websites, but then they had like a web board message forum, and I was the moderator there. So just keeping, you know, an eye on all the English language stuff. But through that, and that's how my UK Dave name came, because that was my username. But
Right.
through that, I got to, you know, go abroad quite a bit. I kind of, because it was run by the record label, I kind of knew the record label, and I got to meet the band and, you know, a few parties and things like that. And also got to know a lot of like main fans of that sort of music all over Europe. And you know, I made friends that I've still got now. And we used to go to a lot of parties. We used to meet up in Germany quite a bit. There was a like I mean, particularly in Norway, there's a big Norwegian contingent who I still know, and a big Hungarian contingent. And I think just through that, gradually, I started getting more into sort of, you know, going to all these parties and all these clubs, and then I sort of started trying to do a bit of DJing myself. And Hungary in particular, I've done quite a lot in, and that sort of started, you know, probably 2010, something like that, where I used to do sort of regular, you know, maybe go there once a year or something like that. We used to have sort of 90s rave, retro kind of happy hardcore type parties over there. And so, yeah, by then, I guess it was more CDs and MP3s by then anyway. So very meandering, but I got there in the end.
Did you learn to do both skill sets, both mixing vinyl and, you know, the electronic setups that we've got now?
Not really vinyl so much, no. I mean, most of my stuff was digital by then anyway. And you know, I do really envy people that can do that and admire their skills and hard work.
Right.
I think it would be good if I, you know, was able to sort of dedicate the time to doing all of that sort of thing. But alas, I have.
I mean, I think it's widely accepted now that although vinyl has a certain chic retro cool, and it's great when you see people doing it. I think I remember Yaz and I were probably both at Fabric when I think it was the Peach and Strawberry event where Adele was in the main room, and I suddenly saw her flip a vinyl record over, and I was like, "Oh, she's playing vinyl." So, I mean, she may well have just pulled it out from under the desk and stuck it up in the air. I don't know, but I think she was doing a vinyl set. So that was very
to be
cool.
fair, I think a lot of DJs that play vinyl, especially the ones that I know, will actually flip between the two during a set.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So they'll go from vinyl to digital, digital to vinyl.
Yeah, but I think it's an accepted thing now that, you know, it's obviously, you know, records get bumped when you're playing a vinyl, whereas with electrical stuff, that tends to happen a bit less. Although, of course, we know they can go wrong as well, especially when those important little sticks break as you put them in. Just ask Fleur from the UV Girls. She will tell you I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. I was there too.
Yeah. That was like a moment of crisis. My God, that track went on for a long time while they were trying to sort that out. What's been, I mean, taking that as a segue topic, what's been the biggest disaster you've ever had when you've been DJing? The biggest foobar moment.
I suspect I've had several, to be fair. I mean, USB is probably not working properly. I mean, now I always carry duplicates, so hopefully, you know, that doesn't happen too much. Or someone leaving a knob where the knob shouldn't be, and I didn't quite realize, and it all comes out a bit like, you know, how's your father? And then, you know, I have to work out what's going on there. So probably just little things like that.
Do you find there's different sort of degrees of camaraderie in the DJ world? I talked to Adele Andea about this as well when she came on, and it's, seems to be a bit of a Marmite situation. Either people are fucking awesome and they're there to sort of egg you on, and the handover is all lovely and stuff like that. And then there's the total opposite of that, where it's a little bit cool, shall we say. I could use another word beginning with C, but I won't. So I don't know what your experience has been working along other side people on lineups and stuff like that. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always been very good. I mean, people are always very well, at least to me, they're all very lovely. I mean, I think certainly from where so more recently, I've been getting quite a lot of gigs, possibly through the stuff I used to, or the stuff I still do on Twitch, where I've got like a channel, very sort of like happy hardcore, very cheesy, the kind of stuff that you heard at Unity, Lance.
Yeah.
I always sort of think, particularly the kind of style that I've got, it's very, very kind of guilty pleasures, like covers of songs, just sort of feel happy stuff. And, people could take to that in different ways, but, generally speaking, everyone's been really nice and, really enjoyed it and taken it for what it is, kind of thing. So I think in the hardcore community generally, that's the sort of scene that I know the best. You get sort of tiffs here and there, but I think generally speaking, taking it on the round, everyone is generally really supportive. And I think that's really nice. I think maybe it can be different other places, but I think I can only really talk for the hardcore.
Sure.
The hardcore, and everyone's really nice.
I would agree with that. I've picked up on that within that scene. There's a lot of, I said this on another interview, there's a lot of passing back of the baton. Like Adele in particular is very great at bringing people up behind her and bringing people up onto the lineup that she thinks are working hard and deserve exposure. And then you've got people like, if you know Simone Sassy, she's just done her own hardcore event called Battle of the Brands. And I thought, what a great idea for an event where she basically got loads of lesser known brands to come on and kind of show their wares, as it were, in a relatively small event. But it was almost kind of like, it was like an audition process, except that the DJs were auditioning us, the punters, to say, this is what my event's going to be like. This is this is the audition. If we pass, please buy a ticket and come along to our next thing. And I met some great people there. It was fantastic stuff. So I get what you say about that completely. We've got some questions in the chat, and I am going to get to all of those. So don't worry, keep them coming if you want to ask either of my guests or indeed myself a question. We will get to them in just a sec. Do you remember the first time you got a paycheck for doing this?
Well, that was probably during my German bar DJ phase. So in between DJing in Europe and DJing around the UK like I do now, I was doing a lot of I sort of cut out a bit of a sideline DJing at German bars in London quite a bit. Yeah. So I'd kind of had that sort of European kind of tilt anyway. And I like going to German bars. I think they're great because, I like German beer. Who doesn't? I'm
not a big beer drinker myself, but I'll take your word for it.
Oh, yeah. I like sausages. I like schnitzel. It's kind of great. And around there, they played a lot of sort of the more cheesier music that I kind of liked. So I got a regular gig doing that.
You're the first guest I've had come on here who said I like German bars and I like sausages in the same sentence. And you haven't got abuse from the chat yet, so you're doing all right.
I think they all know me enough, most of them.
Keep going with that. So, but what was that first gig where can you remember the first one where it was like, it's that moment where you're getting paid for doing something you love? Because that's quite a significant moment in a creative person's life.
Yeah. Well, well, you say that, it just sort of came kind of thing. I think in there was a bit in Europe which I think was kind of good, and I think sort of in terms of pay, it kind of just sort of gradually went up as such. But I mean, to be fair, DJing is not my professional career. I do something else a lot more boring than that. So in that sense, my particularly now, my greatest ambition really is not to get paid and make lots of money, although any contribution to the UK Day Fund is always very appreciated. But really to spread the kind of vibe and the kind of music that I do and the kind of feel good stuff. So that's kind of where I tend to come from.
Have you got a favorite? Or it's difficult to pick one because I get asked this all the time. What's my favorite movie of all time? Which is a ridiculous question. But so let me phrase this a different way. If you had your desert island top 10, give me a track that would definitely be in that top 10 where your sort of dance floor music repertoire is concerned.
Well, I suspect a few people in the chat are probably thinking that what I'm thinking now. But in terms of music now, I think it would be, there's a happy hardcore version of I Touch Myself, the old Divinals track.
Yeah.
It's by Stompy and Easy Vibe. And it is a banger. It is a banger. And I have contributed to its bangingness by making a dance move out of it. Which I constantly do on my Twitch streams, and I pretty much play it every single time I'm out these days, and get those on the dance floor that know it dancing to it. I did that at Unity, I think, twice, and even those that didn't know it kind of got the gist in the end.
I found the mix by Hixie and MOB, but I can't see the one that you just mentioned. I've got DJ Stompy Come Follow Me. That's 17 years old. Good God.
No, so I Touch Myself by Stompy and Easy Vibe.
I'm sure I'll find it.
Yeah. It's out there on Star Digital for all those that want to pick it up.
Yeah, if any of my moderators spot it, I know I've got a couple of my mods in the chat. Drop the link for it in the chat. We'll put it in there.
I see someone else is mentioning Cherries. That's Cherry Pop by Searle. That is also another one that I tend to play quite a bit.
Right.
Hardcore Pop My Cherry. It's quite fun. It's quite a fun song. And whenever I play it on Twitch, for sure, you get all the emotes of cherries flying around everywhere and stuff like that. So yeah, that will probably be up there as well.
Martin White wants your hat. Wants to know if that's available as UK Dave DJ merch. I mean, mate, spin-off merch is where it's at, I'm told.
Well,
we've got an Outcast hoodie, which is on my chair just there. I haven't got them for sale, but maybe we should have them. They're always from productions that people have done.
I agree with Martin here. There is a comment here that says do the move. I feel like as a happy hardcore absolute beginner, like if you were to ask me happy hardcore tunes, I could probably name 2 or 3. So I feel like you need to do the move. And 2, my other question is, as a happy hardcore pretty much beginner, if you were to give me a happy hardcore album to like sum up your love of happy hardcore, what album would it be?
Great. This is no wonder Yasmin's here. See, my secret weapon. Yeah. So can you do the move first, Dave?
Yeah, I do need to see the move.
No pressure.
Yeah. Well, I don't have much room, so I can't really do it justice here.
Does it involve a backflip?
What?
Does it involve a backflip?
No, it doesn't involve a backflip. I can show you on that one. So it kind of goes, I don't want anybody else. I don't want anybody else. So that's I don't want anybody else. I don't want anybody else. And then when I think about you, I touch myself. Whoa.
Okay.
And that gets repeated quite a lot because, happy alcohol songs, repetition is the key. So we do a lot of that. And then there's a bit more of a complicated move where the verse comes in, which everyone just gets confused about, even me quite often. But yeah, generally it's I don't want anybody else. When I think about you, I touch myself. Well,
I think we need a full video of that to play next time you come on.
I love
Are
it.
videos. That are
Right.
videos. I can assure you that are videos.
Oh, and the second question before we come to Martin's one, sorry, Yaz asked about the album. So which will
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, albums are a bit more difficult because I think particularly happy hardcore these days, you don't get many happy hardcore albums. But I think certainly the type of happy hardcore that I would be like renowned for, if you go to Most Things by Searle, for example, S3RL, that would be a good start. Or
So my like happy hardcore knowledge, I'm gonna throw like Shooting Star, Field of Dreams. They're kind of what come into my head when I think of happy hardcore. And like, my friend, I've got a friend that's got a good happy hardcore mix, and I love the songs that are on that, but it's not something I've ever really delved into because I don't know where to begin. So I'd love to expand my happy hardcore knowledge and library of music in my head, just wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah, well, happy hardcore, I mean, happy hardcore in some form or another has been going on for quite a while now. So I mean, you're talking about sort of happy hardcore from the late 90s, early noughties. And you know, that's classic happy hardcore, and again, you know, I play that quite a bit anyway. So you know, things from Fulson Styles is always good. Sweet Lily Loves, actually, I can see put in the chat the Bonkers albums, and yes, that probably would be a great place to start.
Great.
So yeah, start volume 1 and you can work your way up.
I will 100% do that. Thanks.
Yeah, I think particularly the first 3 or 4, that's certainly a great start in terms of like the more classic happy hardcore.
We love the classics.
I love the classics, yeah. And
what's the difference between happy hardcore and hardcore?
Oh, well, that's a very good question. Yes.
For anyone who's just arrived on the chat, we're not talking about porn, we're talking about music. So just to clarify.
Yeah.
Anyway, any late arrivals that have just joined the stream.
I mean,
what is the difference?
So there's many different terminology, I suppose you could use, like happy hardcore, UK hardcore. You know, what's the difference between happy hardcore and UK hardcore? That could be a good talking point.
Well, go with that. Answer that question, because I'd love to know the answer to that. Because all these different genres and subgenres, I'll be honest, confuse the fuck out of me. And I say this in my book, and I've had different answers from different people as to what they mean. So that just makes it even more confusing.
Yeah, exactly. And you probably get different answers from different people because there's probably no, like, you know, rigid definitions. I mean, happy hardcore is sort of hardcore that is quite happy. I think would be a good start. It's stuff that's quite fast, you know, usually about 170, 175, quite often with high pitched vocal, or at least the ones I do. UK hardcore, I suppose you could say, is hardcore made in the UK, but then you have UK hardcore which is made by other people, like Searle, for example. He's Australian, but he might be termed UK hardcore, and so the difference between UK hardcore and happy hardcore could possibly be quite blurred. Hardcore just on its own, I suppose that possibly could be considered as a more all-encompassing like genre, covering lots of different genres, of which happy hardcore could be one of them. You've got other types like you know, Gabba. It tends to be a bit more harder and faster, like originally from the Netherlands. Has got a lot of its roots. I mean, I'm probably saying things that are completely rubbish now, but you've got Frenchcore. That's very popular these days. That's usually around the 200 beats per minute. You've got GPF, which is a subgenre of its own, really, peep kicks and things like that, which, you know, you start getting into pneumatic drill territory. I have a lovely version of Britney Spears' Oops, I Did It Again, which is beautiful, and a lot of people like it, but a lot of people hate it because once you've done a bit of Britney, it goes 250 BPM,
right?
Which is very exciting. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't get too hung up on terms. You know, you kind of like what you do like. And
yeah.
to be that's tend to be the route I've gone through. So I've got a lot of, you know, different influences from stuff that's not happy, you know, not hardcore at all.
Sure.
Particularly sort of like a more Euro dancey stuff. Although I play a lot of happy hardcore mixes of Eurodance songs these days as well, so it becomes a bit of a retrospect vibe kind of thing. But you know, I always say to people, you know, that are like, well, what's this? What's that? What's this term mean? What's that term mean? You know, I think the most important thing is listen to the music that you like, whatever it might be, and whatever people might call it.
Yeah. I'm very much like that when I'm at Ministry of Sound. It's got so many rooms, I can't keep up with who's playing where. So I just stick my head in. Does this sound good? Yeah, okay, I'm going to dance to this. I'm just so crap like that. But all right, let's move on to questions in the chat, and then I want to dive into one other topic before we begin to wrap up. See the time; it flies by so quickly. Martin White, what's been the highlight of your career so far? Obviously, apart from coming on this channel and also meeting Leanne Murphy, as she has been keen to point out. So apart from those two things, obviously.
Meeting Leanne is always a joy. Meeting Leanne is always a joy. I mean, I think, you know, I've been fortunate enough to play at some like really, really great venues more recently that I, you know, never thought I would be able to. Like last year, I played at Ministry of Sound at the Bonkers event.
Yeah.
And playing in Corfu, Unity in the Sun, you know, just sort of those sort of big venues. And I think it's really great that people take a chance on, you know, I am not the biggest and most well-known DJ in the world, and what I do, you know, it's a bit different to what a lot of other DJs do. And I think it's great that people, you know, are kind of willing to take a chance and just, you know, put on, you know, some of the smaller DJs out there.
Yeah, I see that being encouraged a lot, which is great. Rave Illusion's another good little event that's very good at supporting up and coming DJs, run by Anthony P, and of course was founded with him and the late Jess Jones. And I've had Anthony P on here before as well. They've got an event coming up, just to give them a plug, in August. I think there are 10 tickets left.
Oh.
So, you know, if anyone's watching wants to go now, it's down the sort of London Bridge, Peckham Way, somewhere like that.
And I think from a hardcore perspective, you know, I really would be amiss if I didn't give Kayleen Scar a shout out, because she gives a lot of people a chance, particularly through Future Focus events, of which the next one is in a couple of weeks, says he.
Well, let's give it a plug right now. I'm quite happy to do that. I'm quite happy to do that for her, especially for somebody who does the very thing that this channel embodies, which is other creatives, of which I am one, supporting other creatives and giving them a voice. So, Future Focus music event. Do you know which venue that's at?
14th of June in Southampton at Suburbia.
Right. Okay. So I've got a few Future Focus posters coming up here, but I'm not seeing. If you can find the link for it, put it for me in the private chat there, or if one of my moderators can find it, please put it in the main chat. But let me just hold on. Let me go on to take it off images. Future Focus Facebook page. Here we go. Multi-genre hardcore rave. Here's the information.
Oh,
so I mean, I've got the Facebook page. So guys, if you want to check this out, there's a Future Focus Facebook page, which is there. Let me just get rid of Dave's message. Featuring SpongeBob SquareWave. I mean, you've got to go for that alone, surely. Spyro, DJ Can't Say No, Dave Skywalker, Kayleen Scar, Introspect, Address, Yak Yak, BJ, DJ, Bimbag. I actually managed to say that. Expect an explosion fusion of hardcore beats, high energy vibes from a diverse range of genres, from hard rave to UK hardcore, donk, breakbeat, and everything in between. I'd love to know what the genre of donk is, but I don't think we have time to go into that now. So yeah, grab your tickets now. Here's the link for tickets. Let's see if we can. Let's get that ticket link up for people. There you go. So this is what you're looking for. I'm going to put the link for that in the chat right now. Thank you for mentioning that. Always happy to plug stuff.
And there's also a lot of other brands, particularly in the hardcore scene, that are supporting smaller artists. You know, just to reel off a couple that spring to mind. A couple of other ones. There's Thumpin', which is a Twitch raid train, which does real life gigs now. Hardcore Flavors up in Blackpool. They do a lot of smaller hardcore parties as well. So yeah, there's quite a lot out there these days. I think particularly since COVID, the sort of hardcore, happy hardcore scene's got a lot of like really sort of, you know, smaller parties that give a lot of people sort of the chance and just get us all together, you know, raving away to the kind of music that we like.
Yeah, I think that's great. Good summary of that situation. I'm hoping to go to more events outside of London. Yaz and her fella have promised that they'll put a sidecar on their bike for me, so that the three of us, there's space for the three of us to travel. Yeah, because I don't have a car, so I've always got a sort of like train. Once I get to the station, how far is it to the venue? All of that. So festivals are kind of out for me, although I don't do chemical toilets, so that's absolutely fine.
Well, I try to avoid them as well. To be
Sweet Lily Love wants to know, what's the farthest you've ever travelled for a gig?
The furthest I've ever travelled for a gig. Well, I'm just thinking measurements now. So I think the ones I've probably gone the furthest to, like my European. Well, actually, it's probably Corfu, isn't it? I mean, that's quite a long way away. Thinking about it,
that plane journey was pretty quick, you know.
Yeah, well, it's longer than you think. I mean, it was 3 hours, I think.
Yeah, but I had a really good book with me. Actually, one of the people I interviewed right before I went, he had a book out. This actor called Jim Piddock, and his book was so good. I started reading it. I was about halfway through it. It's we're here.
Oh well, it was obviously a good book. It is
a good book. Yeah, really good. It's about his career in Hollywood. It was absolutely hilarious. So
and
that's the secret to making the flight pass quickly is bring a good book with you.
I had my friend Leona with me, so you know that helped it go quickly as well.
Okay, I thought you were about to say that made it twice as long, but
no, God no.
Ramelli Ellis wants to know Arelis, I think that's pronounced, most iconic festival gig that you've played, and maybe one that you've played that's no longer happening.
Well, probably the most iconic festival that I never played there was I went to those V festivals for a few years.
Yeah, I remember those.
V99 and V2000. In fact, I think V99 I did get very excited because I got interviewed by Cat Deeley, which was on MTV News. I was wearing this hat. There's always a hat, isn't it? I was wearing this hat. It was like a top hat, but it was like orange and black, and it had lots of bells on. And you know, whenever I went along, it was going ding-a-ling-a-ling, and I thought it was great. And I think I was just sitting around with my friends having a few beers, and then she comes along with her mate. What was her mate's name that time? Edith. Was it Edith Bowman? Yeah, Edith Bowman.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pair of them rocked up, and they were like, "This is a very nice hat," and I was like, "Oh, thank you very much." And yeah, she was like, "You know, where did you get that from? Do you like it?" And I said, "Oh, look, it, you know, bells and things." And yeah, next thing I knew, when I got home, it was on MTV News. So I was like, that was one of my earliest claims to fame, to be fair. So.
Fantastic. We've got another question here. I'm not going to. We don't need you to answer this one. What's German for bath? I've absolutely no idea.
Bada. The reason she says that is because A, I know a bit of German anyway, and B, her and her husband usually, I have a Twitch stream on a Sunday night, and her and her husband usually watch me while they're having their weekly bath, and they make a big thing about it.
Love that.
Yeah, each to their own.
Just put it this way, you've become part of their weekly routine.
I have in ways that I never thought I would manage. So yeah,
Here's a question.
I reach the part that other DJs don't reach. That's what it is.
There we go. There we go.
That's that. You know
we
what?
love
You want to,
happy
mate?
hardcore.
You want to put that on a T-shirt. I reach the part that other DJs don't reach.
Oh, that's a good point, actually.
I somehow feel that suits you very well. I've got a question for both of you before we go into the final section. Minutes are literally counting down. But fortunately, I'm the boss, so if I go over a little bit, it's fine. So somebody just mentioned about there's more support for smaller DJs since COVID, and I think that's absolutely true. And I think part of the reason for that is there wasn't really a London day rave scene in 2019, because I don't remember hearing about this day rave and that day rave. And at that stage, I was looking for stuff to go to. I already knew I wanted to get back to dancing. My relationship was kind of at its end, and we were almost like leading separate lives by the end of that year. Then, of course, we had the pandemic happen. And then I remember the first day rave I went to was Rave Days. So that's the Reed brothers at XOYO. I think it was their second birthday anniversary, because they were the new kids on the block. The Rave Days brand is relatively new. And that was in April of 2024. And I remember in April of 2024, we had to wait a few weeks before there was another day rave event. Like the next big one was like Orange, and then which was the Orange Reunion. Absolutely amazing, incredible event. But within a couple of months of that, there were 3 or 4 on every Saturday, because of course everybody picked up. Everybody wants to go out now. And I think a lot of us that are 45 and older, and we don't have the responsibility of young kids at home and things like that, we want to get out. We want to enjoy life, especially when the news on the TV is always so grim. World War III looks like it's going to break out any time. They're just talking about increasing the size of the army. You kind of want to leave all that over there, get out and enjoy ourselves, forget about what's going on in the world for a minute. What changes do you think have come about, either for better or worse, as a result of the pandemic, that have impacted this scene that both of you have seen and experienced? Yaz, I'm going to let you answer that one first quickly, but keep your answer relatively short if you can.
I just think that day raves does give more people the opportunities to go out and enjoy themselves. Like you say, you don't drive, so if a rave finishes at 4 a.m, obviously it's hard to get home at 4 a.m, but if a rave finishes at 10 p.m, you can go out, you can go and enjoy yourself, and not okay. We all have the issues with the trains, they don't want to work some weeks, but I just think it's given, I don't live in London, and I feel safer traveling home at 10 p.m than I would at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think I want to say exclusivity, but I'm not sure if that's the right word. But I think it just gives people more option.
Yeah. No, that I think the timing thing, because we're of a certain age, we've all got more energy in the daytime. And me, when I get on the dance floor, I don't like to come off.
Yeah. Same.
And I've lost 2 stone in 6 months. Everybody keeps telling me I don't need to lose weight, but I had a stomach and I hid it really well. People just didn't notice. That's why I had a lot of extra large t-shirts. I had a bit of a belly and I got rid of it. And just kicked off all the carbs, dancing 6 hours every Saturday, every week. When I'm dancing, I can feel the weight dropping off me. I mean, because you're proper exercising if you're going for it, and like I was on Saturday. And it is really good for you. It's good for your mental health as well. So for me, it's the whole day rave scene has provided a massive social, mental, and physical outlet that just wasn't there before. Dave, what about you? What pluses, minuses? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would like reiterate all of that, really, particularly about day raves. I think I go out, certainly after COVID, I go to a lot more parties and raves, DJ a lot more parties and raves than I did before COVID. And I think day raves, particularly for sort of hardcore stuff, you know, it's come just at the right time, kind of thing, because, you know, we are all getting older. Going to a party, getting up on a Saturday, going straight to a rave, you know, leaving at about 9 o'clock, and you can be home, you know, you can be home in time for your chamomile tea and go to bed at a reasonable hour. I mean, what's not to like about that?
Or date night.
I also love that you don't have to wait around all day. Like you'd wake up at say 10 o'clock on the Saturday and you would have to wait all day.
No.
And the pre-rave nerves would be there and you'd be like, come on, just hurry up.
Exactly.
I love that I could just get up and go now.
No, I do you know what? I get the pre-rave nerves as well, and I feel quite seasoned now. As I went to 34 events last year. I don't know how many I've done this year. It's quite a lot. So yeah, I still get pre-rave. I get like butterflies. I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love that. It's all part of the raving. They're all part of the rave day for me.
It's kind of the possibility of what if today, you know, this happens or that happens. All positive things I need to say, and just you know, what if your favorite person's going to be there, or what if you make great new friends today? I've made so many friends. I never thought I would make this many friends in my 50s. Just never thought that was possible. And then you realize that actually there are all these other people out there just like you who've lost friends over the years. People have moved away, some have died, and so on. And you know, we don't have that social life we had in our 20s or early 30s anymore for various reasons. And then suddenly we're all brought together at this one event, sharing the love of music. And then, you know, you find that when you get to know some of them better, you think, oh, these are people I can hang out with. I've had people over for dinner and all kinds of stuff. It's been great. So that side of it for me has been amazing, really.
Yeah, and I think with COVID, you know, since COVID or during COVID, I guess online, I've met so many really nice people that I've made really good friends with. You know, all over the UK. You know, a lot of them are on this chat talking what they're talking now, kind of thing, and it kind of shows. You know, we've got, you know, we've made, I think certainly in the 2020s, I would say I have made some really, really good friends who I think I'm gonna, you know, have, you know, take with me for many, many more years to come. And we, you know, we all meet up and we go to, you know, some of these parties, some of these day parties that are going on, and other stuff. So in that sense, you know, COVID was a terrible time, and you know, I wouldn't really wish that again.
No.
You know, it was very difficult for me. It was very difficult for a lot of people. But I think in terms of the music and in terms of, you know, what has come out of it from the music, you know, that's been the kind of, I don't know, saving grace of that period, I guess. And, you know, the good thing that you can take from it.
Yeah. Well, final question for both of you, and this is definitely a major benefit of having my wonderful guest co-host Yaz on for this, is my industry, which is I mainly work in film and theatre production, although, you know, I do write books and things, but I don't work in the music side. I'm not an aspiring DJ, although I am going to be making a track later this year, so watch this space. That's another story. Yeah, Dave, you can play it. But keeping this on topic. My industry does not have a good track record of long-term relationships. Quite difficult. I would say that events in my career were probably more responsible for the death of my marriage than anything else. Events that I couldn't control, not me being like a workaholic or stuff like that. And I think, you know, for the benefit of people watching, Yaz is going out with a DJ. Do you want to give him a shout out? Because I think he's going to come on the channel soon.
Zone. Hey, Dean.
D-Zone?
He's a hard trance DJ.
Where's he playing next?
I can't tell you because it hasn't been announced yet.
Okay.
But he is playing out later on this year.
Okay, no problem. I'm sure he can come back and give that plug at some point later in the year.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, so you're dating a DJ. You are a DJ, Dave. How do you find in that environment? How have you found? I don't know if you're in a relationship, Dave, and if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, please don't. But you know, how have you found that balance, especially if you're traveling around a lot. You've got a partner that's, you know, up in the box sort of thing. DJs tend to attract people as well, sort of, you know, coming after them. So I just wonder how you find that balance, and how do you work that? So Dave, if you want to go first.
Well, I mean, I'm single, so it's fine.
How's it been in the past, though? I'm not going to let you off that easily. Sorry. How have you found that in the past? Because you've been a DJ for quite a long time. Has that been something that's prevented you from having a relationship, made it more difficult?
Well, I wouldn't say it's really affected anything in that sense. You know, I mean, I don't kind of worry too much about those sorts of things anyway. You know, I do what I do, and you know, I meet a lot of really good people while I'm doing it. So yeah, that's probably all I'll say on that.
Okay, so for those people watching, Dave is single and available. We'll give you his contact details later. Yaz, what about you? You are in a relationship. How do you find that?
The thing is, I think what helps is that I am a raver.
Yep.
And I rave to the music that Dean plays. So if he's like, oh, I've got a gig, I'm like, I'm coming. Like there's never going to be a problem there, because that's how we met. That's part of who he is. That's part of who I am. Like, yeah. I've just gone to Malta for 5 days. Well, actually 8 days, and just left him at home. And He'd just been like, have a great time, babe. Like, go and dance your ass off. Like, so we understand that about each other. And it's like, when he locks himself in that studio, if he's in that studio for 6 hours, I know not to walk in. Like, just need to let him be. But I understand the process, and I understand. But I think if you were to date someone outside of the rave community or the rave culture that we have, or the music, I can understand it'd be quite difficult for people to understand, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my take on it.
No, I think that's, I mean, I just reopened my profile on this dating app, and I rewrote my profile, and it's got on block capitals along the top. Looking for someone to share my love of dancing, house music, trance, and I listed all the other, you know, cross genres that Dave mentioned earlier. And because it's become such a big part of my life now, I definitely want someone I don't have to go clubbing with them all the time, but I definitely want someone I can share that experience with. And I think what you're talking about really as well with your situation is you've got to have incredible trust there. And if you have that trust, that's a massive foundation for a long-lasting relationship, isn't it, really? So kudos to you both. And no wonder you look so loved up when I see the two of you together, which is always lovely to see. So
he's a good egg. He's a good egg and a really good DJ. So if you do fancy some harder trance, Dean is your guy. Look him up.
So Dave, before we wrap up, people can find out more about you on the links I've already put below, but where are you going to be playing next? What gigs have you got coming up?
Again, let me look at my social calendar. So
I know it's very complicated with all the dating that you've got lined up. Your present single status. It's hard fitting all the gigs in.
Yes, exactly. DJing wise, I've got a gig on the 19th of July in Southampton, which is South Coast Ravers. They're doing a cheese night. Hey, I had to go to that.
You've got to be at the cheese night.
I've got to be at the cheese night. So I'm DJing there. I've got I think I've got a couple of other ones lined up, but they haven't been announced yet. I'm going back to Budapest at the end of September. I tend to go there once a year and see all my Hungarian friends. I like to think that, you know, I'm reasonably popular over there.
Sorry, I'm sure you are.
Yeah. Well, I've gone there long enough. In fact, actually, it will be. We were talking about that the other day. It will be 20 years this year since the first time I went to one of their parties.
I mean, I've only been talking to you an hour, and I'm already compelled to go and listen to your music. Like the energy that you've got in your personality is amazing, and it already makes me want to go and listen to your music and your sets to see how your personality comes out in your music.
Oh,
so I can
wow.
see why that you've got a longevity of fans.
What a compliment. See,
Very
this is
kind.
why I brought Yaz on. So yeah.
That is very kind. Yes, well, yes. I mean, this is me being quite subdued, to be fair. You know,
yeah, I obviously I can see the chat here, and I can see which way your Twitch goes, and I'm thinking this guy's responsible for that. You're my type of person.
on my Twitch stream, I have fans. I'm usually jumping up and down. My bed streams are the ones that last an hour, because I can't really do it for that long, much more beyond that.
But for me as a raver, because I'm not a DJ, I have no desire to become a DJ, but for me as a raver, that type of personality and that type of DJ is who I resonate the most with. And even if I don't love the music that you're playing, if that is who you are, and who you are comes out in how you play and how you do your streams, it's just so relatable. And I'm like,
thank you.
Yeah, that's always a big selling point for me. I really like, first time I saw Adele play, my friends were telling me you've got to see Adele Andrea play, and I didn't know who she was, but I just watched her. I'm a real people watcher, and it was exactly the same with her. You know, I do watch the DJs. Did you see Rave Anywhere play in Corfu? The guy called Rave Anywhere.
DJC, yeah.
I mean, again, like yourself, he's another one who's got big personality, energy that comes to life when he's behind the decks, just like you. And that's a great part of, that's very much part of the package.
We make sure we eat our Weetabix beforehand.
Well, that's right. Fantastic. Well,
I mean, I did like it when I did I think the one that you were watching, Lance, the set I did there, and I had a lot of people come up to me who were sort of saying, well, I say a lot, I had a good handful, who said they were like, they're not really hardcore fans, but they like appreciated the set I did. I mean, that set I did a lot of 80s covers, which I think always goes down well. But you know, and that really makes me happy, particularly, you know, people that don't normally listen to that sort of music, but, you know, get something out of what I'm doing. I also, just so I finish my my sets, my DJ gigs that I'm doing, there was another one that I missed, which Flavor C will be very sad if I don't mention that. It's a while away, but the 15th of November, I'm DJing at Hardcore Flavors in Blackpool. We've got Vibes headlining that. So that will be a good one. And Easy Vibe, who a lot of people on the chat will know.
Yeah. Well, that kind of answers that question. Well, look, thanks to both of you for giving up your free time and coming on the channel. This channel is all about promoting creatives, whether you work in film, television, music, board games, design, whatever that may be. I'm always interested in talking to people. For the benefit of those people watching, we have a regular weekly stream, because the interviews I always arrange around my guests whenever my guests are available. They can happen at any time. But my regular weekly stream is every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, which is, funnily enough, called the Nielsen Ratings, named after me. And that is where we review the latest stuff that has dropped on Amazon, Netflix, and so on. I have a panel of 4 guests, including artist Rachel Percy, who was in the chat earlier. And today, for example, we're going to be reviewing the 6-part BBC drama of the bombing of Pan Am 103, the Lockerbie disaster, because that's just dropped on BBC iPlayer. It's absolutely gripping stuff if you haven't seen it. But we will be talking about other documentaries, comedies, all kinds of things. And occasionally we will also talk about a favorite old film of ours and recommend that as well. I also want to remind people that the play that I did about the post office scandal. So if you don't know this about me, I'm an award-winning playwright. I've written 15 plays, including plays about the Hillsborough football disaster, the Marsh and S inquiry, the Victoria Climbié inquiry, and many, many other things. I was the first person to do a drama about the post office scandal. This came out 3 years before the TV drama came along. So this was already on stage before they'd even written the script for that. This play has been on 4 times already. And it really does tell you the whole story of the scandal from start to finish. We cover a lot more stuff that isn't in the television drama. It's a satire So it's got a lot of comedy in it, all at the expense of the bad guys, I need to point out. There's a small number of performances, just 4 at the moment, on in Birmingham, Sandwell and Solihull, so all in the Birmingham area at the end of June and going into July. In fact, some of the dates on these stickers here are wrong. I think the first performance is 26th, and then it goes on until the 5th of July. Just look for Red Lens and False Accounts, and you will be able to see the information. It's also on my Facebook page, and I'll be posting it fairly regularly. I've got another industry interview tomorrow at the same time, 8 o'clock, where I shall be talking to Robert O'Connor about his book Jeep Show, which is a World War II novel set during the Battle of the Bulge, 1944. Anybody knows me well knows me, I'm a bit of a history buff. And I've got 2 more industry interviews next week with 2 different independent filmmakers. So, you know, I'm doing my bit to support the independent creative. We give you a voice here to talk about your stuff. It might be that you design T-shirts. I've had I met somebody in Corfu. In fact, I think, Dave, you'd know this lady. And she showed me photographs of all the stuff she designs at home. She does like bangs that light up and all these wonderful coloured T-shirts and stuff for raving gear for ladies. I've told her she can come on anytime. So I'm trying to remember her name now. She was there with her boyfriend, who was also a lovely bloke. And they just literally just moved in together as soon as they got back from Corfu. Which
is it Tammy and Tim?
It's not Tim. Tim was with me, but no, not Tim.
Timmy Wiz might be a different Tim.
Timmy Wiz. That's definitely a name for a raver, isn't it? Timmy Wiz. But anyway, yeah, I will be getting her on anyway. She's got an open invite to come on the channel. The Nielsen ratings will be live in 41 minutes. So in 41 minutes, I'll be back with a panel of 4 people talking about the latest stuff that's coming out. So congratulations, Dave and Yasmin. You are now officially members of the Outcast Creative. That means you have given me your time for free, which means you have an open invite to come back on this channel at any time to plug a creative future endeavor, and I will endeavor to schedule you and get you on as soon as I can, because we do really appreciate your contribution. Helps the channel to grow. Guys, if you're watching, particularly all those lovely people from Dave's Twitch stream, do subscribe to the channel, because that's how we grow. I've worked really hard on this channel. It's very hard to get subscribers now, and I've managed to get over 5,000 in just a couple of years. And let me tell you something, that was not easy. That took quite a bit of graft to do that. So is there anyone else you guys would like to give a shout out or thank you to before we say goodbye?
Well, I think I've been sneakily giving shout outs to quite a few people.
Oh, you have, that's true, but I'm giving you one more shot just in case you forgot anyone.
Well, Sweet Lily Love, she is one of my most hardest working moderators on my Twitch channel, and she's been here as well. So shout out to Sweet Lily Love.
Okay, fantastic. Yaz, is there anyone you want to shout out to?
Yeah, I've definitely already shouted out my boyfriend enough today.
Oh yes,
I'm going to shout him out one more time. Woo!
he's had a few. We've mentioned him a few times. Hopefully, we'll have him on the channel in due course. I will be at the.
I can't not give Leanne Murphy a shout out as well, because Leanne Murphy is adorable, and Carol Casson, and anyone else on the chat that I've forgotten.
Fantastic. I'll be at the Kevin and Perry. Is it the 25th celebration or something? It's on at Ministry of Sound this weekend. Jez and Serena of My House, which is an excellent brand of house music. They run the My House events. They are going to be there, Mr. and Mrs. House, as I call them. And for ravers watching, I've got a raving book coming out in September called Back to Raving at 50. Guess why it was called that? Because I went back to raving at 50. And it's my journal of going back to raving for the last 2 years, as well as covering stuff back in the 90s when I did a little bit of raving then and a little bit of dancing and stuff. And then there's a whole load of other stuff in it, like the Raveosaurus and rave etiquette, which, you know, who should be first in the queue for the toilet under certain situations. Lots of comical stuff like that to be found in this tomb. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks to UK Dave for coming on. Thanks to Yasmin D for being an excellent co-host. Definitely got to have you back. Thanks to everybody in the chat with your questions and comments. If you didn't know, this channel has its own song. Here it comes.
Misfits and dreamers getting innovative. It's film, TV, and theater in the mix. Industry interviews where ideas get their fix. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Interviews with fellow artists on the rise and reviews that might surprise. Films, TV shows from back in the day. You might just find a hidden gem today. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Filmmakers, comic book creators, stand up proud. Actors, musicians, board game designers, be loud. At Outcast Creative, amazing's the word. He even interviewed the legend, Gail Ann Hurd. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. So come on, take a chance. Join the Outcast, hang with Lance. Bring your vision, your art, your flair. At Outcast Creative, there's always room to share. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew.